Hello, my podcast people, and thank you for joining me for yet another episode of my favorite podcast. If you're watching this, you see that I had a bigger than usual smile on my face. You can't hear it. I've talked about this before. When I start the podcast, I clap in order to be able to line up the audio and the video when I do post-production. When I clap, sometimes Rupert's in here, and it scares him, and it's funny to me. Like, he doesn't like run away. He's kind of a skittish guy. He doesn't like run away, but it's funny to me, and I just get a little chuckle out of it. So Rupert's fine though. But today we are talking about, should you start a podcast? Do we actually need more podcasts? If you're listening to this, watching, tuning in on the day that it drops, it is Monday, May freaking 5th. Jesus fucking Christ. Welcome to May. Like, what? It's May. I'm actually recording this on April 23rd, but the thought came to me and I had time. So I was like, I'm going to record it. But I've talked about this before, how recording these episodes, it ages me. And not because they were difficult. I actually love recording. Obviously, I'm on episode 663. Like, I love this. But they quote unquote, force me to speak to a later date and time. And I'm just like, damn, time is moving so fast. Like, this is going out in May. Like, remember, January literally took 19 years. And now it's May. So I don't have a ton of life updates because I'm recording this 2 days after I recorded the previous episode. So all that I can say is that I'm pretty sure I'm going to go see Sinners maybe today. No, not tonight. Maybe tomorrow at some point. But last episode, I said that I would update you if I had gone to see it. But because I recorded this way earlier than I usually do, haven't seen it yet. But pretty sure I'm going. Yanni went and saw it, and she didn't cry because of fear, so I think I'm good. Right? She wasn't super scared. But today I want to talk about starting a podcast, whether you should, and if we actually need more, right? So the episode is inspired by two friends / clients of mine that started their own podcasts like in the past, couple of weeks with some help from me, some minor help from me. One had more help than the other. But I'm going to drop those right now because I'm so fucking proud of both of them. So the first one is Facilitated. That's the name of the podcast. It's called Facilitated. It's hosted by Kate Darty and Mitchell Rasmussen. So I may have just butchered her name, but I know I didn't because I actually voxed her. And I was like, how do you pronounce this? And I would have definitely never said Darty. But she was like, no, it's Darty. And I was like, well, shit. So those are the hosts. And here's a little blurb. Functional medicine stories, strategies, and science from the facility. Get the inside scoop on functional medicine with real patient cases, expert insights, and practical strategies to take charge of your health. Hosted by a functional medicine doctor and a nutritionist, Facilitated unpacks lab testing, cutting-edge treatments, and wellness trends. No fluff, just the good stuff. Whether you're a patient, practitioner, or just health curious, we'll help you connect the dots and make functional medicine make sense. Yes. Immediately fucking yes. I have known Mitchell for a very long time. I have known Kate far shorter. I'm big stoked about this. So we will link that in the show notes. Thank you. I almost said thank you, Kate. I am having a blank right now. How dare I? Thank you, Courtney. And thank you to myself. The next one is 3 Questions podcast, and it's hosted by my girl, Megan Copel Duffy. The blurb for this is a podcast that asks you, the listener, to think outside the traditional movement space box while having a good time. Every episode will cover one topic and ask you, the listener, 3 questions to help you find the answers you are looking for. Super stoked about that one as well. I just had a meeting with her yesterday. I think it's going to go in a different direction. The audience that it attracts, I think, is going to be a little different. I'm excited. I'm excited for both of them. I'm proud of both of them. Just go check them out. We will link both of them in the show notes, in the whatever YouTube note things are called. Also, I have had both Mitchell and Meg on the podcast before. I brought Mitchell on the podcast way back in 2022 for episode 359. And I brought Meg on for 2 episodes. I brought her back in 2019 for episode 150 and then again in 2023 for episode 502. So we will link all of those things. And clearly, I got to bring Kate on, and that will happen, but very likely after JoJo returns from paternity leave, because I don't really love dealing with the post-production editing, quote unquote editing. It's not a ton, but it's just, I don't like dealing with it for guest episodes. But Kate, if you're watching this, listen to this, I will bring you on. I want to bring you on. I need to bring you on. I'm going to bring you on. But definitely check those podcasts out. So right off the bat, let's talk about podcasts. As it relates to starting a podcast, this episode isn't about like the tech or anything like that. But I want you to understand, I have an entirely free fucking ebook on it. It's not $19, it's 19 pages. It's free. We'll link it in the show notes. Grab it. Yes, you have to subscribe to the email list in order to get it. Unsubscribe after if you want to. I literally don't care. Right? I just want people to have access to good information, and this resource is really good. So we will link that. But if you have like questions around the tech side and what to get, it's all in there. Yes, my friends, some fucking tech tenacity is required in order to start a podcast, but it's not nearly that difficult. It really isn't. Right? And most of the time intensive parts of starting a podcast, they're basically a one and done. Like you have to set up the initial feed and such. You have to learn your editing process. But like once you're done with that and you get it done initially, like you're good. I do always recommend that you do things yourselves. If you're in a place where you have the capital to like have someone do it for you, okay, cool. I can recommend editors as well. Jojo is an editor. He's on maternity leave right now, but like Morgan does podcast editing. I have people to recommend. My girl Courtney does podcast editing. Does podcast episode. Wow, I'm having a moment because I'm excited. Courtney, Joe, Morgan, all those people, they do podcast editing. Okay. I don't know who's available, but you see you have options. But I really do always suggest that you do it yourself first and learn the process. I did 150 episodes myself first before bringing on the best in the biz, Courtney. So all that to say, all of that information is already, I already compiled it. I already wrote a thing for you. So if you want free, go get that. I also, literally just before I hopped on here, I put in my Instagram stories a poll to see if people are interested in some sort of like course or workshop or something like that, some sort of paid, because nothing in life is free, some sort of paid experience where I help you start a podcast. Like I've never really had an interest in doing that because I don't want to like fucking like do it for you. Like that's not how I roll. But I know that some people like to be able to ask questions and get feedback. Even just like going through, thinking about how I helped Kate and what I did with Megan and answering those questions around things. And I'm just like, I enjoy that side of things. And I've done it for the Mafia and showing them the editing process. So if that's something that would be interesting to you, shoot me a DM and let me know. Right? Or text me 310-737-2345. It will be almost said it red. It will be green. It's my sideline, but if there's something that's interesting, you're like, yeah, I want to start it. I'm ready. I'm committed to like actually doing this. Yes, it'll be a recording. There always is. So if you're like, hey, I want to like really learn it and you want me to be the one to teach it to you, let me know. Because I don't build shit unless people want it. And if you don't want it, that's fine. All right. But the bigger thing that I want to talk about, right? So we're not talking about the tech or anything like that. The bigger thing I want to talk about today is perhaps the question that those of you with self-awareness have that maybe is causing some of that underlying hesitation, which is, do we actually need more podcasts? Does the world need another podcast? And that was a question that was posed to me by Mitchell when we were all riffing about the idea of starting a podcast, which was heavily driven by Kate. She is a fucking force. She's a force of nature, and I'm so glad that she has like tornadoed her way into, not even tornado, because she's very much gathered. There's no scattering. It's like very intentional. But she's in the ecosystem, and like she is a force. And Mitchell asked that. He was like, does the world need another podcast? And my answer to them was, we need more good podcasts. Now, I know that good, quote, the word good, it's subjective, right? And there's only an objectivity to it, in my opinion, in so much as, is it helpful? Now, again, as I say, is it helpful? There's some level of subjectivity with that as well, right? Because, helpful for who and in what way? But as is the case for both of these podcasts that I just spoke about, they're rooted in science, which isn't fucking subjective. Like, come on. We're getting to a point in life where like people are like trying to pretend that it is. And I'm like, but it's not. It's subjective. That's why I love it. Right, so when I'm looking at podcasts and is it helpful? I'm looking at, does it get people results? Is it actually helping their health in this case? And not just the fucking like neurological trickery or 5 minutes of it feels better and then there's a shit ton of side effects. Like, is it presenting information completely and in an unbiased way with no like ulterior motives? Like, very simple questions, right? And both of the podcasts that I just recommended that have just been started They do, right, by the way. But, in my response of we need more good podcasts, that is absolutely one of the things I'm thinking about. Like, I can move it away from the science and move it towards math and numbers. And like, I'm thinking about Ked's Economist. I think the podcast she started is The Optimist Economist, something like that. And Money with Katie, right? Those are objectively fucking helpful podcasts because they present objectively correct information, and it's not biased in yes, everything has a bias towards it, but there's no like, we're going to hide this information. We're looking to get you to buy this thing or do this thing. It's just like, here is information that we are synthesizing based on my education and understanding of these things and my mastery of these things. So they are helpful, right? Those are good podcasts. They are not based on just one's opinion, which is the other angle I want to come out with for this, right? The other angle of, is it helpful, is it good, is the subjective nature of podcasts being good and why we may not need more, right? One of the best parts about starting a podcast is that you get to share your opinion and no one can tell you to shut up. I could just sit here and talk for as long as this thing will record. No one's going to tell me to shut up. They may tell me after the fact, but it doesn't matter. I don't have to read those comments. No one's actually stopping me in the moment. All right, so if you are a personal brand or business, whatever, and you like to talk, a podcast could be a really, really fun, easy, nice thing for you to start, by all means, right? By all means. It is a free and open space to share your opinion, your approach, your thoughts, your beliefs, your personal experience. Like that's at the goal. That is the goal as well, right? You're sharing like your lens for these things, right? So, if you go, this being the litmus test here, about the subjective side of things and do we need another podcast, I would say if you go and look at all the top podcasts and see what's there and your opinion, your approach, your thoughts, your lived experience are the same as what's on there, perhaps we don't need another one of those podcasts. Like, no, right? Should you start one if you want? By all means, do whatever you want. But if you're looking for a litmus test, is it needed? Well, that is one way to see, like, do we have a ton of those voices saying the same thing already? Well, then we don't need another. Right? But if you're asking me if we collectively need another Joe Rogan, right? That's what I'm getting at here. No, we don't fucking need another Joe Rogan. Right? I will say, though, and I did not watch the movie on Netflix, Adolescence. It seems very harsh. I didn't watch Adolescence, but what I've read about it, I honestly heard it was very good. But what I read about it and heard about it and what I see on threads and what I see with my eyes is that it does seem like we could use some podcasts that dismantle the patriarchy for men, created by men, right? The patriarchy be fucking men too. Like, I don't think you're escaping. That shit is fucking you big time. And Adolescence shows that. And yes, the rest of the world suffers, right? The rest of us suffer because of it. But yeah, we could use some podcasts for that. So just throwing that out there, right? So from a helping society perspective, those are my thoughts, right? And the litmus test that you can use as to, does the world need another podcast? Well, do you see this already? Is it said a zillion times? Then maybe no. Right. And I know if you're listening to this, maybe you're like, hey, but you said with social media, like, if it said it's different, my voice could be different. It could be, but also it could be the exact fucking same. Right. Because part of the things I said in there was your experience. If your experience is also is the same, your experience, your beliefs, everything is the same, then it's also not needed on social media, to be completely honest. Right. If your experience is different, can that be helpful? Absolutely. And how different? I mean, I don't have like a barometer for that. All right, but let's be honest about, like, do we need more trainers on social media? If you're going to say something different, sure. And I didn't mean, when I say something different, I don't mean you like making things up, but like, the reality is it will be hard to stand out. It will be hard to separate yourself. It will be hard to attract an audience. It will be hard to grow your business if you look the same, act the same, think the same, believe the same things as what's already out there. And anyone telling you otherwise is lying to you and probably trying to take your money and being like, oh, but you're different. Are you? Because if you're not, then you're not. Right? So that's just the honest truth with this. I'm thinking right now, I'm like, oh, I could do another episode about that. But that's the litmus test for my kind of, do we need more helping society perspective around things as it relates to business and having a podcast, starting a podcast. I have discussed my thoughts about this a bunch. I actually did an entire podcast episode about this. It's episode 422. We will link that. Thank you, Courtney. Thank you, me. For those of you, if you're just new and you haven't heard why I'm saying thank you to me, because I usually thank Joe. He's the one that puts it into the YouTube little blurb, but he's on pat leave, so I'm doing that side of things. So, but the main thing to note is that there are pros and cons to starting it for business. Definitely check out that whole episode I did. I don't want to spend a whole episode now talking about it again. I've already said it. But I do want to present you with, I have 8 things written down that I'm going to just blow through to present realistic expectations around this. And because I'm all about, realistic expectations, expectation management. So I'm going to present that, as it relates to a podcast, starting a podcast, having a bad podcast, and your business, right? So number 1, it will not blow up your business. So if that's the reason you're starting it, don't start one. It will not blow up your business. Whether you're in person or online, it's not going to blow up your business. Part 2, though, it is a phenomenal way to deepen relationships with your audience, right? It's great for new folks that are new to your audience as well. One of the things that I do, if I find someone new that I'm like, oh, I'm interested in this person, I like what they have to say, I will try to find a podcast that they're on or that they have so I can listen. Because you can't fake it on a podcast. You really can't fake it if it's live, but podcast, I get to hear you and see you, especially if it's video, I get to see you, and I can better gauge someone that way. But it won't blow up your business. It can help your business for sure by deepening relationships with people, both new to your audience and old in your audience, older to your audience, right? Number 3, growth as it relates to having a podcast. The organic side of growth comes from being a guest on someone else's podcast. That's the number 1 way that you grow. All right, you're a guest. People listen because this means that not everyone listens to podcasts, but if you're a guest on someone's podcast, it means the audience is podcast listeners. So if you're a guest, they like you. Those people like you. That's good. But the easiest way to be invited onto someone's podcast is to have your own podcast and invite them on yours first. Right? You invite them on, you're a bomb-ass host, and then they're like, dude, this person was awesome. Because podcast hosts, if you ask them, especially if they have a lot of episodes, you're always looking for someone. If you're going to do guest episodes, you're like, man, I need someone good to bring on the podcast. So if you invite them on, you're really good. Doesn't matter your audience size, you're really good. Now you're on their radar. You're really good at hosting. Now you're on their radar, as a friendship building, relationship building there, and for them to bring you onto their podcast. Number 4. Hosting, running, having a podcast should not cost you an arm and a leg. Right? Do that shit yourself first to start off with. That's going to be the most important and most expensive part is going to be the editing and paying to have that done. So don't do that. Don't pay in the beginning. Do it yourself. Have shorter episodes. It's really not that hard. Again, as I'm saying this, I'm like, yes, I will happily run a course that will cost you money to show you it's not that fucking hard. Yes, there's some tech tenacity that is needed, but it is not nearly as hard as you think. And the trick is to just record it well the first time. Have an outline I have an outline in front of me that I'm reading off of. All right, I used to not have one, but I wasn't recording with video before. Now I'm like, I don't like stopping the video. So we do this in one take. All right. Number 5, my suggestion, no video until you've recorded 100 episodes. So I do get some pushback on this and I'm like, all right, do whatever the fuck you want. But video adds friction. You're going to see when you first start a podcast, there's some initial friction anyway of just figuring out what you want to say and just doing those things. Adding video means now you have to also be concerned, if you want, with how you look. And more than that, how the video looks. So 1, if it's just audio, you're concerned with how it sounds and is your room sound treated so that it sounds good. Then you got to say, oh, I want video. Now, how's the lighting in here? What does my background look like? These are extra things to think about. And I know a lot of you are going to be like, what do I look like? All of these friction points. I don't want that. I want you to just be able to record and go. So 100 episodes, and then you can start with video. Right? It just makes things much easier. There's extra tech that's involved if you're going through video. There's more things that can fuck up if you're going through video. There's the issue of what is your camera like if you're going through video, because most time people that are going video, they want to put it on YouTube, which means that you're filming in landscape, but you have to have good enough resolution so that when you crop that, because you want to put it on Instagram, it doesn't get all pixelated and shitty looking. So there's just a lot of things to consider. if you have 100 episodes under your belt, those things that you're not worried about the audio side of things. You got that set, right? You're just going to worry about video, which becomes an issue because sometimes people record like in their closet because it's really good sound, right? The clothes just eat up the noise, so it's not echoey and bouncing around. Problem with that is that you can't record a video in there. Right, so it's this way. It's nice. You're like, all right, I got the audio things done. I understand my flow. I'm comfortable and confident with it. Okay, now I can put a video on it, right? And if you think about it, if you're doing one a week, like that's 2 years. So like you're like, I'm good. I got this. I have a commitment to this thing. Right? If you're a content monster and you're like, nah, man, I got this. Cool, but don't expect your podcast videos to go viral on YouTube because they won't. They will not go viral. So if that's what you're trying to do it, don't do it because they're not going to. It's not how fucking YouTube works. Please don't fight me on this. Or, actually, please don't fight me on this. Just go and fucking do it and see for yourself and waste your time. All right? They do not go viral. If you just want to put them up there, do it. That's why I do it because I'm like, I like this, but I do not expect these things to go viral. Point number 6. Podcast video clips on Instagram typically don't do well. So the full video on YouTube isn't going to go viral. And the short clip that you've pulled to put on Instagram will also not go viral. Audiograms, which is just like where it's like a picture and then you have like the sound of the clip, the audio from the clip playing. Maybe you have like the sound wave thing on the screen. Those don't do well either. Right? Those are like also from like fucking 2019. Like I was doing those things a million years ago and like they didn't do that well then, but it was like a bit of novelty. So it was like, oh, cool. We are way past that. Those things don't do well, right? The image with the podcast clip, an audiogram, don't do that, right? The exception here in terms of like what from a podcast may do well on Instagram is when people do in-studio podcasts and they have like usually two or more people. But there's a few like caveats and like reasons I think they do well. Like one, there's a really high video quality. Oftentimes these people already have an audience already. They already have an audience already. So I said it twice. They may be big name folks, famous, right, in whatever way. So you have a bigger platform already, or you have the money to do like the promotional side of things. Getting on a lot of those big podcasts, a lot of them are just pay to play as well. So don't think that it's like, oh, you just have to like be good at podcasting. It's like you have to like pay money and have like a PR team, right? So just remember that podcast video clips on Instagram simply don't do super well, but this doesn't mean don't post them. By all means, still post them, but we want to consider what Instagram likes, which is, better quality video, which again speaks to what I said earlier. If you're going to be recording video for your podcast, either just record it natively in vertical orientation. You can use your phone to do this. You'll have to sync the audio, but there are other ways to do it. But either way, you can just use your phone, record vertically, or if you're like, hey, I want to record it horizontally so that I can put this onto YouTube. Okay, make sure that you have high enough video resolution so that when you crop it in for the video on Instagram, it's not like super grainy, and also it's not like 1 fucking inch from your face. Like no one wants that. Okay, so yeah, a lot of things to think about here. Number 7, everyone starts a fucking podcast. No one keeps them going. Right? My challenge to you would be commit to doing 100. I just had a conversation with Megan and she was like, I'm going to commit to a year. And I was like, no, commit to 100, which is technically around 2 years. Less than 7% make it to 100. And if you're listening to this and you have more than 100, there's a good number of people in my ecosystem, my fucking people. You are the best. I'm thinking about JPB. I'm thinking about eWeb, right? These folks, Lex has one that's over 100 now. Like, y'all are doing the thing. I see you. If I've missed you, I'm sorry. I don't have these names written down. I'm just like going off the top of my head, but I know there are a handful of people in the ecosystem that have hit over 100 episodes. And that's a big deal, right? So everyone starts one. No one keeps it going. So if you're going to start one, wait until you can actually keep it going and then commit to 100 episodes before you say, yes, I'm keeping it, or no, I'm getting rid of it. Number 8, as with anything, do it because you enjoy it. Start a podcast because it's something that you would enjoy, right? And because you want to diversify how you reach and teach your people. If you're doing it just to blow up, you're going to stop because it's not going to blow you up. Right? It will not blow you up. It can absolutely help with your business, though. Do not get me wrong. There's a big trust factor here. Right? If someone's listening to you 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 40 minutes. My episodes used to be an hour when they were like guest episodes. There's a big trust factor there. It's huge. Absolutely. But it's not just going to like suddenly take you from like, I had nothing and now I have everything. If you were getting some traction, it can absolutely help with that traction. Right? It can absolutely be a very big addition, very helpful for your business. Absolutely. But do not expect it to be the thing that just like gets you in front of cold traffic and now suddenly like you have 1 million clients. It doesn't work that way, but it can be very helpful. Right? But the number one thing there is do it because you enjoy it and because you think you're going to enjoy it. Right? So does the world need another podcast? Should you start a podcast? It's up to you. I gave you the litmus test. Right? Hopefully I've given you some food for thought, but those are my thoughts around it. Don't forget, if you're like, yeah, I do want help. Well, actually, back it up. Don't forget, I have that free ebook on how to start a podcast. By all means, you want to start there? Go ahead. It's free. Go get it. If you are like, no, I've already got it. I already downloaded it, but I didn't do shit with it. Right? Or you're like, no, I don't even want to download it. I want a workshop. I want a course. I want you to be there. I'm not going to do it for you because ew. But if you're like, hey, I want your help and I do want to do this, and it's something that I go through this with you, let me know. Right? Perhaps if I get enough interest, I will do something. No promises, but you folks know you've been with me since the election, and I'm just kind of like sitting and looking and thinking how I want to help and what matters to me. And one of the things I am good at is getting people to take action. I'm good at lifting people up. And if you feel like you have something to say, I do want to help you say it, right? I can help people with that. So Instagram has been my play for a long time. And I'm not saying that I'm moving away from it, but like, fuck, like I wish that it wasn't run by like the worst people ever. But I can help out with a podcast for sure. So if it's something that's interesting to you, let me know. And I'll see what I can do. I think I should probably add one more thing about monetizing the podcast. I'm not a big fan, right? You can do it. I have resources for that. And when you monetize it, typically means that you have a sponsor. I don't think it's worth it because I don't like to be told what to do. I know Lex has a sponsor for the podcast. It's not that hard to get one, depending on what your audience is like and how engaged they are. But I don't like being under anyone's thumb. Usually you can get a couple $100 a month for it. And it doesn't do it for me. That is not enough for me to be like, yeah, I'm going to put your fucking ad here that no one wants to fucking hear. Or, I don't want to do that, but you can do that. Right? You can monetize it other ways. I have gone over this in previous episodes where you can bring the owner of the thing on and maybe you get the service that, for free, and you do you do a code so that it can be tracked, your sales can be tracked, things like this. There are other options, but I can talk about this if I run a course, or you can go back in the podcast also and listen. So let me know if it's something that you think would be interesting, rather you would be interested in. Let me know, and maybe I'll make that thing. All right. Looking at the time, just a little bit longer one. Thank you for tuning in, giving me your time, your energy, your attention. I do appreciate it. Clearly, I'm excited about this. I like talking about this stuff. So that's all I got for you. Rupert has run away. Oh, no, he's behind us. You see him, guys? There we go. That's all we got. Big grateful, and we'll catch you next week. Until next time, friends, Little Ruby, a.k.a. Maestro and Maestro, out.